Welcome to The Zone. The Zone is a show dedicated to the world of HBCU sports and beyond. On The Zone, we have exclusive interviews from across the country. We discuss topics that others dare not touch. So join us for this week's episode of The Zone, presented by the Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas. Hey, it's the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of this week's show. Of course, it is our mission to try to bring you some news you can use. Today is no exception to the rule. Follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and our website is obnradio.com. And without any further delay, we'll go ahead and jump right into this week's episode. Well, the NCAA softball tournament began on Friday, May 19th. Panthers opened up against the host seed LSU Tigers. And the Panthers got out to an early 1-0 lead, and that was it as far as the rest of the day was concerned. LSU comes back to beat the Panthers by the score of 12-2. So now the Panthers will face off against Omaha, who lost to the University of Louisiana Lafayette by the score of 5-0. So those two will face off in an elimination game, and then you will have ULL go up against the winner. They'll go up against LSU, and then that loser will play the winner from the loser's bracket, and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, the Panthers still have one more at least opportunity to go up against Omaha and see how things will pan out there. But the Panthers in Baton Rouge getting ready for round 2. Meanwhile, on the baseball diamond, the Prairie View A&M University Panthers faced off against the Grambling State Tigers on Thursday and Friday. The Panthers losing both of those games, lost on Friday by the score of 6-2. Now, what is the concern is that the Panthers have picked the wrong time to begin failing on the diamond. You have one more game against Grambling State, and that game will be on Saturday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the Panthers need to win this game in a huge way, and here's why I'm saying this. The Panthers are now losers 6 of 7 last games, and with this one final game of the regular season, you have them going to try to salvage something before May 24th takes place from Atlanta, Georgia. Now, right now, the Panthers are the 4th seed of the Western Division. And with that being established, congratulations to the Grambling State Tigers. They actually clinched the Western Division title, winning on Thursday's game, and then they continue on that Friday victory over the Panthers. Number 2 seed are the the Texas Southern Tigers, who had the victory over Alcorn. Now, before I go any further with that, Alcorn actually helped prove a theory that I strongly believe in when it comes to playing your mid-season opponent, or when you're playing against a team who may have a bit of a deeper pitching staff than you would have, or your pitching staff is somewhat questionable. Alcorn used a plethora of pitchers in Game 1 against Texas Southern in their opening series of the final weekend, and stayed very, very competitive. In fact, held the lead for quite some time, and it took a rally for the Tigers to overcome Alcorn. And I'm saying all that to say that just as we were referencing for potentially for Prairie View, knowing that they're pretty much that number 4 seed, do you start throwing other guys with these final couple of games to get ready for your postseason tournament play in Atlanta, to get these guys acclimated to some live action? But nonetheless, you have Texas Southern, who is now at the number 2 seed. Southern is the number 3 seed. Now, Southern had their final series against University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Okay, so here is where another concern of mine comes in. When you look at the overall conference record for Prairie View in this 2023 season, the Panthers are 14-14. Okay, you're 50%, 500, however you want to identify it. But here's the alarming part. When you look at your series competition between Alcorn and University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff for the 2023 season, the Panthers come in at 11-1 or 13-1. Yeah, they come in at 13-1. But then when you go at the teams that are a bit deeper, slightly better, Grambling, Southern University, Texas Southern, the Panthers are 3-13. That is a huge contrast. What that is saying, without saying anything, is that the Panthers are somewhat being underachievers when you look at rosters comparing apples to apples, facilities comparing apples to apples, budgets comparing apples to apples. And I know that a lot of the buzz was that we're underfunded. And when we're talking about being underfunded, they're not allotted the full 11.7 scholarships that you could get for a Division I program. And that's the case across the board when we know the budgets in comparison. But that's a whole nother topic that I'll have to talk about and continue to try to break down further down the road. But when you look at what your comrades are dealing with compared to what you're dealing with, it is really, really a severe sign of underachieving. How do you correct that? How do you compensate for that? We know that there are struggles and challenges that every budget has, but you have to be that creative, out-of-the-box thinker to try to offset some of the obvious challenges. And I've, talked about this more on one occasion, probably will continue to talk about it as long as the challenges exist. We know that nutrition and strength and conditioning, those are things that not necessarily that budgets can address. That is a cultural challenge. That is a personal acceptability and accountability action right there. That part coach, part institution, part player, and might even add part parent influence on how these things all come together. But that is something that Prairie View has missed the target. It's just no obvious way to present it. And how do you continue to see and don't see and hear and don't hear when this becomes the Achilles heel for overall getting to the next level for the program? Meanwhile, on the eastern side of things of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, you have Alabama State, who just won their 38th game on Friday. And when you include the conclusion of this weekend and tournament play, they have a very highly probable capability of winning 40 games. Think about that now, 40 games. And when we spoke with Coach Olin Parker about this, we call him OP, when you look at things through the lens of an Alabama State, they're probably coming in with more pressure on them than any program that will be meeting in Atlanta on May 24th. Here you have a team that's projected to win over 40 games, and you got to win it all because of the structure of the league. You only have one automatic bid, more than likely, that will come from your conference. And let's just say, for an example, Prairie View, they get to the championship game against Alabama State, and the way the structure is set up now for the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and I'm using air quotes, double elimination tournament, Prairie View could come out of the losers bracket, beat Alabama State, who is undefeated, and Prairie View wins that one game, they're representing the conference in regional play. So when you look at the structure, and the reason I'm using Alabama State, if there were comparison apples to apples, Alabama State is probably in the same financial boat as a Prairie View. Okay? What's the difference between this program and that program? Number one, Coach Parker kind of addressed it, was scheduling. Alabama State plays a very impressive, strong Division I schedule. And when you compare to what Prairie View is playing, how they're playing opponents. Now, Coach OP is very adamant about that. He feels like if you want to have a true, respectable Division I program, you should only play Division I opponents, i.e., don't play the Houston Tillisons, don't play the Jarvis Christians, don't play the Wiley Colleges. And depending on which side of the spectrum that you're on, because I could also flip it and say, you know what, D1 baseball, D2 baseball, D3 baseball doesn't mean you don't have quality ball players, and even NAIA ball players doesn't mean you don't have quality ball players, you know, but everybody can't fit the rosters of the D1s, D2s, D3s, and so on and so forth. A ball player is a ball player. It matters not what level that ball player is on. If that guy is a gamer, guess what? He's going to perform. It doesn't matter if it's an NAIA diamond, D3, D2, D1. The difference in those levels, in my opinion, is really depth. That means you don't have a quality ball player. You might not have the depth of quality ball players. You can take, for example, the pitching staff of a Texas A&M versus the pitching staff of a Prairie View. Texas A&M have people sitting in the bullpen who might throw 10 innings a year that could come to a Prairie View and be the number one, if number two guy out of the rotation, or at least the number one guy out of the bullpen. So it's all about the depth. But it's all going to boil down to philosophy, conditioning, training, and the approach. I tweeted the other day, if those who like to follow me on the Mike Prince Show, that just because you work hard, it doesn't translate to you playing hard. And we got to really analyze and understand you could be the workout king in the batting cage, but when it comes to facing live pitching, you are awful. And we got to be able to make the difference between the two. So when you get back to what is and what's not, what could be, what should be, there are a whole lot of different things that could possibly be revisited to try to restructure and reshape the current existence and identity of your baseball program. Now, one thing that I did like what Coach OP brought up during our conversation on this week, baseball's talk on the Southwestern Athletic Conference, during the early parts of the season, in your February, March, when you're thawing out and getting things going on, why not play some teams from the North, some teams that are in challenge weather conditions? In the case of being in Texas, you have good enough weather where you can get some games in, and play some outside competition, some competition on a D1 level that can help prepare you for down the road with your conference play and to have a little bit more success down the road. And I've always been a big advocate. Yes, I would love to have 15 arms of 90-plus flamethrowers, but that's not going to be a reality. The reality is I need to get guys who can come in and get me some quality service innings, not quantity service innings, but quality service innings. And it's always been baffling to me. How can you have guys on your roster all year long? And I'm morely referring to pitchers right now. All year long, and they don't touch the bump 10 innings in a season. That's a waste of space. That is a waste of resources. That is a waste of time. If you don't have confidence that the individual can bring something serviceable to the program, don't dress them out. We've got to be more selective and creative with the resources we do have available to us in order to push forward in this game of baseball at the D1 level. Now, if we're going to operate in that D1 level, we have to start thinking in that D1 level. We have to start preparing in that D1 level of making this thing bigger and better. And yeah, we know money is always what we're hearing, but sometimes it's not about how much you're spending. It's the quality of what you're spending your money on. And there are a lot of little things, and like you say, creative, out-of-the-box thinking. And there's a couple of coaches that I can recall, they had taken hold to the movie Moneyball and had really became deep in their analytics of recruiting. And they had challenged budgets and this, that, and the other. Spent a lot of time researching people through the internet and checking out stats and looking at probabilities and this, that, and the other. And it was unconventional. You're going like, what are you doing? And why are you doing it like that? And they said, well, I don't have the budget to fly every guy I would like to visit in. And this, that, and the other. And now with the addition of the Zoom opportunities, that you can do a lot of these things. Me personally, I don't want to see a guy who's crushing the ball in a batting cage. That doesn't impress me. That lets me know, okay, yeah, you're a good, great workout guy. But how does that transitions over to a playing situation? And it's a lot, should you and should you not play all year long, this, that, and the other, and all depends. When you get to college, though, your sport is going to be your sport, and so you work and hone in on improving your skills every chance you get. But when you're talking about these youth or whatnot, you got to let these guys develop mentally and physically. Let their bodies catch up to the mind, and vice versa. Let the mind catch up to their bodies. We're spending so much time trying to look good instead of just get the results. Yes, it's about muscle memory. It's about repetition over repetition over repetition. But it's mainly about competing. It's mainly about competing. The little time that I did spend in the coaching atmosphere, for the first 2 to 3 weeks, we didn't pick up bats. We worked on defense. Because what I learn and understand about the game of baseball, you're going to have some hitting slumps. But you can't afford to have fielding slumps, because fielding slumps extend innings. Fielding slumps wear down your pitching. Fielding slumps lead to losses. So I might go 0 for 3 during a batting round of a competition, but I need to go 2 for 2 in my fielding opportunities. Why? Because it could be that error that I create that leads to a 3-run unearned inning. Now I got my pitcher having to throw more pitches, which is going to be more fatigue, wear and tear on their body, and I'm already working with a limited pitching staff to start with, so I'm putting myself even further in the hole. I can't expect my pitching staff to go 7 complete innings, and like I said, I already know it is a challenge as far as depth is concerned. So maybe my approach should be I have a set number of pitch counts, which is what Alcorn did against Texas Southern this past weekend. If I can reshape the thought pattern, not only of my coaching staff, but of my players and even my administration on how to approach this game for long-term success. Because I don't want to just have a good season every now and then. I want to have a consistent, steady, moving forward program. And what I've always appreciated about baseball is not that I have to have the guy that's at 6'4", 6'5", 220 pounds, no body fat. Okay, that would love to have that. But I can get the same guy at 5'9" and a half, okay, and he might be a little portly, but he can go ahead and make contact when his contact needs to be made. He can make the high percentage plays of hitting a cutoff man, or they can make sure that they at least knock the ball down, keep the ball in front of them to give themselves a chance, because I don't care how fast you are, no one can outrun a baseball. And if I get these guys who can do it, and once again, I'm going to stick to the HBCUs or your smaller D1 programs, either D2, D3 programs. I know, as I just mentioned, that 6'6" guy, he might turn his nose up to my program for whatever illusion that they have in their mind. We can't control what other people's minds are. But if I can get that guy, yeah, he works hard, and that's good. But once again, I'm not concerned about how hard he works. I want to know how hard he plays. I want to know how they deal with adversity when they're going 0 for 3, but when the defense, and it's time to flash that leather, they can make things happen. I need to know, is this guy running on and off the field every time? Whether he's tearing it up at the plate or he's struggling at the plate, he needs to be playing hard from day one. Does he run out ground balls? He hits the ball to the shortstop or the third base. Is he busting his tail down the line, or is he just simply going through the motions? I don't need that if we're talking about building a program. And I don't care how great of a talent that an individual brings to the table. If they can't play hard 10 out of 10 times, they are a cancer to your program. That's just the nuts and bolts about it. And when we look at this thing from start to finish, that's the approach that we have to take. Now, I would rather recruit a guy from a smaller program who can play more than one position. Don't just tell me, oh, I play second base. No, you need to be able to play second base. You need to play third base. You need to play a little outfield. You need to be able to do something more. If you're a catcher, you need to be able to play third or first base. If you are a shortstop, you need to be able, if I need you, to get me through an inning or two. Whatever the case is going to be, to help put together that program. And it might not be the prototype looking program that the traditionalists are used to, but guess what? When you face us, you're going to know you're going to have to bring your hard hat, and you're going to have to earn it from inning 1 to inning 9. And that is just some of the approach that we have to do. And I said all that to say this. The tournament is going to be the make or break for all teams. Of course, from the East, you have Alabama State, which we started this off on. You have Bethune-Cookman, FAMU, and Jackson State. And we've mentioned on the West, you have Grambling, Texas Southern, and Prairie View. The way things are looking right now, Alabama State will be faced with Prairie View. Grambling State will be faced with Jackson. Bethune-Cookman will be faced with Southern University. And Texas Southern will be faced with FAMU. Some very, very good matchups. The first round matchup that looks the most intriguing to me is going to have to be Grambling, Jackson State. The history of these two programs, the surgeon of the Jackson State Tigers, they were dead men walking early part of the season, but Coach Omar has really injected these guys and turned that thing around, and they're playing some good ball right now at the best time of the year. Sometimes you can peak too fast and you kind of teeter out toward the end, but Jackson State seems to be just now hitting their stride and making this a huge reality. They can do some damage in this tournament. And that first round is always your most challenging round. Prairie View can come in there, even if the slump that they're going in right now, you catch them on the right day, they can fool around and upset Alabama State, which puts even more pressure on Alabama State. So it's going to be very intriguing, and we want to keep you posted with updates and tweets and this, that, and the other about the SWAC tournament from Atlanta, Georgia, beginning on May 24th. I'm going to pause briefly, and we'll hear from Miss Glover in her DG Sports, see what she has to share with us for the week. And then we'll come back with a little bit more of this week's show. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's me, Donna G, on the MIC this week, coming to you live. Hopefully everything is well with you. And we are just in time for the SWAC zone, the MEAC zone, the HBCU zone. So listen up. Well, last week we had the SWAC softball tournament that took place in Gulfport, Mississippi, May 9th through the 12th, and the Lady Panthers take the title for SWAC softball. That last game against Grambling, though, was a doozy, but I'm glad that PVAMU came out victorious. Go Panthers! In MEAC softball championship play. That took place in Norfolk State on May 10th through the 13th, and North Carolina Central took that title. So congratulations to both teams, SWAC and MEAC softball teams. You guys, you ladies did a great job. Also, what happened last week was the MEAC men's outdoor track and field, and that championship title goes to Norfolk State. We know that the track and field tournament was held at Norfolk State, so they went on and took it all the way home. That was held May 9th through the 11th. So, getting back to the softball, both teams, Prairie View and North Carolina Central, were featured on ESPN's regional special, which took place on Sunday, May 14th, to announce their matchups. The matchup for the regional matchups will be May 19th through the 21st. Prairie View plays Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, and North Carolina Central plays Georgia in Athens, Georgia. So we are still excited about those two teams making it, and we just really excited. The young ladies were full of energy. They had actually just finished playing the day before, both teams, matter of fact. And so when ESPN came on, everything was live. You guys got to Google or check back into YouTube or ESPN's social media to see that replay if you didn't see it on Sunday. Very exciting, very electrifying, very lots of energy. So I am ecstatic about that. And I'm excited to see what both teams are going to do in the regionals, in regional play. So very good. The next thing we want to talk about is flag baseball. They're still playing, and their season is still going strong. In the East, the baseball is looking like this. Alabama is 24-3. Bethune-Cookman 18-8, Florida A&M 17-10, Jackson State 12-15, Mississippi Valley State 6-20, Alabama A&M 3-23. On the west side, which is the best side, you guys, I can't say west side without going all the way with it. So anyway, west side, Grambling State is 20-6, Texas Southern 15-9, Southern 14-10, Prairie View 14-12, Arkansas and Pine Bluff 10-17, and Alcorn State 4-3. Their tournament is taking place at the end of the month in Atlanta, so remember that it's coming up. Well, our HBCU, SWAC, NAIA sports are coming to an end. Again, the last will be the 25th to the 28th, Memorial Day weekend, with the SWAC baseball tournament. But as they're coming to an end, I don't want you guys to forget about them. You can always purchase season tickets for the fall coming up for all sports. I believe all MEAC and SWAC have opportunities to purchase tickets for all sports. Or you can get season passes, or you can just get individual tickets, or you can just make a donation. And believe me, guys, when we think about making donations, we often think about millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I would just start off with a $100 commitment per month. I mean, if we could be committed to doing that, man, that really goes a long way. So don't forget about that. I want you guys to see if you're in the Houston area, if you have jobs, internships for your company and or the company you work for, still needing people. We're looking to place jobs, place students, football students and athletic students in great summer internships. In the Houston area, Waller, of course, Hempstead, all the surrounding areas of Prairie View and Texas Southern. Okay, if you have some information regarding that, please feel free to reach out at 832-293-DGSN. That stands for 3476. 832-293-3476. And I can't leave without plugging the inaugural Houston Labor Day Classic Football Forum that will take place on Thursday, August 31st at the Buffalo Soldiers National Museum. Tickets are $50. This will support Prairie View and TSU's football teams. The proceeds go to TSU and Prairie View football teams. So we'll have former NFL, we'll have former National League until we get sponsorship, former National League personnel, including football players, GMs, not limited to football players, so I'll say it like that. Check out www.houstonlabordayclassic.org for more information. Well, I think that's my time, guys, so I want to see you later. Thoughts and words and comments, expressions of Donna G. and DG Sports and Entertainment are not necessarily those of Mike Prince, Dr. Mike Prince, and the Mike Prince Show. I'm just so elated that he gives me this opportunity every week, and I don't want to take it for granted. So I want you guys to be careful and safe, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.
And welcome back to the show. The radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, here with you. I always remind you guys to follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. Well, we know that we've been talking a lot of baseball, a lot of softball, but June 1st, mark your calendars, will be the mega football camp on the campus of Prairie View A&M University. Coach Bubba McDowell, along with Deion Sanders, Willie Simmons, and a whole list of other coaches will be there assessing and fine-tuning some football players for their future college endeavors. And it all starts on June 1st. You can contact Prairie View A&M University for more information and details on the upcoming event and how you can be a part of it. We're planning to be there where we can give a report and assessment of what is and what's not going on in the world of football camps. That mega camp is really been getting a lot of buzz and electricity flowing around in the atmosphere. So be sure to make those notes for June 1st. It happens to be on a Thursday, and it's an all-day event. So you can come out and be a part of something real special. And speaking of being a part of something real special, July 25th will be SWAC Media Day from Birmingham, Alabama. Of course, the 12 coaches, along with player representatives, will be there in full effect, going to see how things will pan out. Now, we know life after Deion, how will Coach T.C. Taylor transition the Tigers moving into this 2023 season. A lot of eyes, of course, will be in that situation. And don't forget the new additions of Coach Wade at Mississippi Valley, Coach Hampton at University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. And this could be the breakout year for Coach McKinney at Texas Southern University. We know the expectations of Coach Bubba McDowell from Prairie View, and dare we forget about Hugh Jackson from Grambling State. So the thing about it is always going to be buzz in the air, high hopes, and the projections will come out, and no one is going to want to be picked last, but someone has to be picked last, and we'll see and get the reactions on all of that. Now, in my early look and glance of the schedule when we first got this thing a couple months ago, I looked and just through scanning saw Prairie View at a 7-4 record. But as we get closer to the camps opening up, we're going to dissect that a little bit more and examine and see does that change for the plus side or even the minus side, looking at how things are coming together for the Panthers. And we'll go through that, as a matter of fact, for the rest of the conference and kind of give our own early projections of overall records. And we'll see what the end is going to be on that. But it's always intriguing and exciting whenever we get ready for the football season. And we dare not forget about the fall competition when it comes to soccer and volleyball. Coach Abe Garcia returning back to the Hill to coach the soccer program and try to see what the Panthers are going to do under his second time around at leadership. And we know, of course, Coach Lindsay coming to take over her first round as the volleyball coach for Prairie View A&M University. And we're truly, truly excited about what the year is going to bring. Also, the search will continue for the new athletic director at Prairie View and a whole lot of other changes, known and unknown, that's going on throughout the athletic department on the Hill. So it's always something going on. Never, never, never take your eyes off the prize, right? So with all that being established and said, we want to thank you guys for joining us on this week's episode of The Zone. Always feel free to send your questions, comments, concerns to us, people that you'd like to see us interview, or any topics you want to try to dig a little deeper in. That's what we're here for. You can send your inquiries to ombnetwork@gmail.com, or you can dial our 24-hour line at 720-721-1558. And just in case you didn't know, you can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. That is going to do it for this week's edition of The Zone. Thank you guys again for joining in with us. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of The Zone. The Zone is a production of the Open Mic Broadcast Network located in Prairie View, Texas. If you would have questions, comments, or concerns about The Zone or anything pertaining to the Open Mic Broadcast Network, feel free to visit our website at obnradio.com and submit your contact information.